Ahoy! My name is Kurt and here comes a new edition of my Pokéball crafting series. In this video I'll be building the ULTRABALL and SAFARIBALL. To fully understand how I build my Pokéballs, I recommend watching my previous video where I explained every single step in more detail. Today let's focus on the steps that visually differentiate each Pokéball. I've already shaped, sanded, painted and secured the foam inside the two halves. For the inner foam I used 2mm craft foam, attaching it with super glue to the inner surface. To align the large yellow H in the center of the Pokéball, I created a small template. This helped me quarter the Pokéball half and indicate guidelines. I simply drew the guidelines on a piece of tape. I modeled the yellow H in my 3D program, removing points from a hemisphere and cutting polygons until only the desired shape remained. I broke down the 3D shape into parts and loaded it into paper cura, where the shape is laid flat for easy tracing. I transferred the template to craft board and then drew it on 1mm yellow foam. Despite preparations, I couldn't perfectly center the piece, but it was already too late. After attaching the foam to the ball, I removed the tape, and if you don't want to miss any of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. It greatly supports my work. Thank you so much. Let's continue with the video. I set the two halves aside and worked on the interior of the Pokéball using a Christmas ornament wrapped in foam. Unlike the prototype Pokéball from the last video, I gave the black foam 2 layers of black acrylic paint, giving it a higher quality look and a slight shine. I constructed the button again using a small magnet, a furniture glider and a rubber ring. I added a metallic effect to the button with a metallic pen. Here are all the components waiting to be assembled. The two halves, the core and the button. I roughly aligned the halves using an object as a spacer for the final position and then simply adhered the halves to the core with super glue. I set the Pokéball aside to let the glue dry. Now let's move on to the SAFARIBALL. I spray painted one half white and left the other one half transparent, as I planned to paint it with acrylics. To apply the camouflage pattern more evenly, I crafted small stamps from 4mm foam. The stamps do a decent job, but they mainly serve as a guide, as I had to trace each print at least twice. I primed the surface with white chalk paint and began stamping. Of course, you can also freehand the shapes. I painted the remaining surface in a rich brown and stamped additional shapes in dark green. I mixed ochre with some white chalk paint and drew random shapes. I crafted the button using the familiar elements and glued it with superglue to the Pokeball core. Again, I used a spacer and later used the superglue to connect the halves. I added wear and tear to both Pokeballs with black acrylic paint and a metallic pen. I also made light scratch marks on the balls and removed some material, especially around the button. I gave the yellow H and the camouflage side a good coat of acrylic varnish. This adds a certain shine and the surface no longer looks flat. And that's it. I have some nice pictures for you, and I thank you for tuning in and sticking around until the very end. In the next video, I will tackle the Master Ball and Great Ball. It would be awesome seeing you here again. Until then, take care.